Welcome back to Red Hawk Media Virtual Academy, Day 9. Today we're taking a look at a number of things corresponding to our coursework. And before that, just a few updates just to make sure that we are communicating well here. I'm going to send this over so that you can see this. I just wanted to make sure that people are aware that from each day, 11 to noon, I am on Google Meet, and if you need to hop on there, get any questions answered, anything like that, if you check your Schoology, you can hop right in there. There is a link that's included, and then you can hop into that and make sure that you get any extra help with anything that you need access to. Okay? That's going to take us over to end of announcements. That'll take us over to Digital Media 2. And with Digital Media 2, we are working in our game, and yesterday we talked about coins and a coin system, and that's not actually due until Wednesday, but for those of you that already have that done, you can kind of add on to this. For those of you that don't have it done, don't worry, just get the coin system done, and don't worry about today's stuff per se. But if you get a chance, you could always double back. This is in the playlist. And just a quick reminder for that as well. Anytime that you want to hop back and see what's going on here, just head on over to Red Hawk Media, and it's the first playlist that's on there. And you'll see all of the live things are set up as the Virtual Academy playlist. So you can hop in there at any time to take a look at that. All right, so back to digital media here. We are taking a look at Unity. And this is just a quick add-on to kind of expound upon what we talked about yesterday. So we're expanding the same exact concept of adding some code that's going to interact with an object. And yesterday what we did, just to give kind of a quick preview here, and I'll take this off and maximize on play so you can see it a little bit more clearly. Boom, boom. Alright, so what we did is we hopped in here and yeah, I added snow. I'm not sure why, but it was it's a particle effect, something that we'll be talking about today, and I was playing around with the idea of that. So we got our character who can interact with the coins, and as he collects the coins, we've got the coin counter, and that is what you're working towards here in your tutorial. Remember, that's on the Red Hawk Media channel. It's called Coin Counter, and you can access that on the playlist, in the 2D platform playlist. So take a look at that. Now, we are going to add on to this a little bit, because in a game, most times there's these little things that are animations that just add that little something on to what's going on in the game, and that's what we're going to do. It's a quick, easy one, so we're going to take advantage of that. First thing that we're going to do, though, is you are going to need another asset from the asset store. And this is pretty common to be grabbing different odds and ends as you put your game together. This is what the asset is called, 48 Particle Effect Pack. So if I head on over to the asset store, let that load up here. It might be a little slow here because I'm streaming. Okay, and I just start typing that in there, 48 particle. And there it is. So download this just like how we downloaded the coins yesterday. Import it to your game. Make sure that it shows up down in your assets down here in the project area. Now I noticed as I'm helping out a lot of people are overall we're getting more savvy with like the areas of Unity, which is great. Our project area versus our hierarchy, which is all the stuff that's in our scene, and then our actual scene area, which is where we are building the game. So I'm happy to see that. So we're going to add some of these particle effects. To give you an idea what a particle effect is, let's drop one in here. I'm just going to open up this folder, and I'm going to go into the different effects that are in here. And there's a load of them. Let's just drag in like an explosion here. Put that in there, hit play. Okay, it'll go up to full screen here. And then I can get kind of a sample of what that particle effect looks like. It's a lot of cool effects that you can actually add on, and they're very handy to put into a number of different places. For instance, if you were to collect a coin before it destroys itself, adds onto the coin counter, what if a particle effect were to show up there? Okay, so we're going to learn a new term today. It's called instantiate. And when you instantiate something, you make it appear. And that's what we're going for. So I'm going to head to one of the coins, click on that. And as we know from the tutorial the other day, we've got a coin script on there. And with that coin script, I can go in and of course I can edit that, which is what we're going to do. That's going to bring up Visual Studio or your editor that you have, that you're working with, whether it's Dreamweaver, Atom, whatever you were able to get your hands on while we're away from school here. So as we look at the code real quick, here's what we had typed up previously for our code. And so far so good. It adds onto the coin counter and then it destroys itself. Now we're going to get it to actually show up with a particle effect, and then it's going to destroy itself here. Okay, excellent. So before we go hog wild here on the code, we're going to hop back out to Unity. Totally zoned on this. I'm going to go to one of my coins, okay, any one of them in my hierarchy. I'm going to right click right on that coin, and then I'm going to add in an empty. Okay, and what you'll notice is that it automatically creates that game object as a child of the original one, which means it's like a sub level of this original parent object. So parent object, child object. All right, this one we're going to call fire point, even though we're not really firing anything. It's just the point where something is going to happen. Okay, the name is irrelevant, so you can put whatever you want. But now that we've got that, we can reference this and use that to show up. Now I'm going to make sure that this fire point, when I go to my move tool, is exactly on the coin. So it's smack dab in the middle of the coin there, which is exactly where I want it, because when that particle effect shows up, it's going to go, you know, from the middle of that coin as the coin is disappearing here. Awesome. All right, so we've got that set up. That takes us back over to Virtual Studio. Or Visual Studio, too much virtual talk. And in here, we're going to go ahead and hop in to the line right after the if statement. So before we even add anything to our score, we're going to instantiate this object. All right, and the way that we're going to do that is, first off, we have to have access to, let's hop in here so I can type. All right, public transform. And this is the X and Y, basically, of that fire point that we created. In fact, we're going to call this fire point, and there we have it. So we created a public transform called fire point. All right, we're going to also create one other thing here, and that's going to be a public game object, capital G, capital O. A lot of you realized yesterday in a lot of the conversations that I had with people that it's very case sensitive, C# is. So you got to make sure that you're putting the capitals in the right places and that, and you will notice there are times that it's capital G, capital O, and down here, lowercase g, capital O. So you got to get used to those different situations here, which is fine, part of the learning process. Let's call this meme object, let's see here, we'll just call it explosion. All right, excellent. So now that we've got those two things here, we can incorporate them into our code below. So I'm going to hop down here, and I'm going to use our new term, instantiate. Okay, and hit instantiate. And then we've got some parentheses. And the nice thing about this, if you're in Visual Studio, it gives you a good idea of what you need to put into the parentheses. We know that according to this, we have to put in an object, and then we're going to put in some transforms according to that. So the object that I want to instantiate is the explosion, boom, and we're going to put a comma there. And then I'm going to say that we want that explosion to show up at the fire point dot, let's see here, is it rotation, transform, I'm trying to remember, position. There we go, comma. So at that fire point position and at that fire point dot rotation. And I'll zoom out a little bit here so you can see a little bit more of that. My apologies. Okay, so we've got all that, and then of course always at the end of these kind of lines here, we've got our semicolon. Okay, so again, just taking a quick look, we're instantiating an explosion at the fire point position and the fire point rotation. Now, the reason that we made these public transforms and public game objects is because now I can go back to Unity after I save this, and these will actually show up in my script, and then I can drag my objects into that script. So again, we're seeing that connection between the script and the object. So I'm going to go Command S, and I'm going to hop back over to Unity. And now in Unity with my coin selected, I can go over to the coin script once it updates here. And there we have it. Okay, so now you can see, hey, there's the fire point and there's the explosion that we were talking about. Because they're public, they show up here. Now, that fire point, I can literally click and drag both of these objects in here. So I'm just gonna take this and widen it up so it's not a 27-inch drag here across the screen. And that'll make it a little bit easier. And I'm just gonna grab my fire point and I'm gonna drag that into the transform so that it knows where to put this blast. And then I'm going to grab, oh, what was one of them that I really liked yesterday? I think it was it Flame 2, Fireball 2, I think it was, maybe? Yeah, Fireball 2, let's try that one out. And I'm dragging now from my particle effect. So again, we downloaded this particle effect. I'm in the effect folder. Here are all the pre-made, prefabbed effects. I just grabbed one of those and dragged it in here. Now this one coin is going to have this effect on it. Okay, just this one coin, because I haven't applied or overridden any of the changes yet. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into play mode here. See if I can remember which coin it is that I put this on. Hey, there's the one that I dragged into the scene to test out. Okay, and now we're going to hit this coin, and boom, there's the fireball that shows up behind it. So it did exactly what it's supposed to. It instantiated that particle effect, and it showed up right where the coin was as I collected it. Okay, now, with that being said, I can go ahead and swap these in and out as I choose. So I can go ahead, I'm going to get rid of that one explosion that's still in my scene. And then I'm going to click on my coin, and I'm going to drag in, let's see here, green, I think it's supposed to be green flame. Let's try that one, drag that one in. And if I want all of the coins to have this effect on it, I can go up to the top of my inspector here, and on this prefabbed coin I can go apply, or if you have override up here, you click override, then you click apply, and it'll add those changes to all of your coins then. So now when I hop back in here, should be able to grab that. Oh, that just keeps going. Oh, that's interesting. Well, that makes for quite a mess. So maybe this one's not going to work. You will notice that some of the particle effects, you can edit them, but I caution you on edit them if you don't know what you're doing. Good way to go about that is to go ahead and duplicate an effect before you go breaking the original one. So like that Fireball 2 is kind of cool, but it's problematic because it keeps looping over and over and over. So I could select that Fireball 2 down here, and I can hit Command D to duplicate it, okay? And it creates a Fireball 4 because it's just adding on to the numbers here. And now if I click this little arrow on the prefab, I can go in and you can see all the different things that are actually part of this. Now one of them that's in here, if I select this and I look over, okay, you can see this is a duration of 3 seconds. That's not the one that's looping. Take a look at the smoke, 3 seconds, that's not looping. Okay, take a look at that one, 3 seconds not looping. There's got to be something else here that's looping. That's just a point light. Okay, so go in, like try these out. You can make changes to them. Make sure that you duplicate them before you make any changes though, because if you break it, then it's kind of a done deal, you know, and this is just a good way to go about experimenting with those particle effects. So this was a little quick something here just to add on to what we previously had. And for those of you that already have your coins in place, go ahead, have at this. For those of you that don't, get your coins working first so that you can meet the assignment for Wednesday. And again, you can always circle back to this to help you out. So that'll get you started in Unity. That's Digital Media 2. And from here, we're going to hop over to web design. Okay, and get out of that. And web design, you guys are continuing the process of working with your draft page. So at this point, we are moving from Photoshop into Dreamweaver. Okay, and I just want to give the reminder at this point that in Dreamweaver, it's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So take advantage of that. We know that with the starter templates that are in here, that we can add any one of these on. Now, they're not going to look like the site that we want, okay, but they are going to be a great representation of the coding that we need for a responsive page. So if I go to my simple grid, for instance, it's got a lot of the framework that's in there. Or if I go to my basic simple page, let's go to that one. I'm just going to double click on it, start that up. Now the beauty of this is this gives me a lot of the stuff that I need. Now I can start working in here and work backwards to get rid of some of this stuff, or renaming it or reorganizing it. But when I preview this actually in Chrome, the nice part is that it's responsive. It's already doing what I need it to do, so all of that basic code is there. So if we take the example from yesterday and we start working backwards here with this, we know that we need one main super container for this splash page, and we know that it's got to be the size of this picture, and that's it. It's not scrolling anywhere. Then we can work on our navigation to get that in there, and then we can work on media, the logo, all of those different parts, and kind of reverse engineer this to put it back together. Okay? So the nice thing is whoever created this, Spencer, I believe, Spencer's got all these layers in Photoshop, and now he can start using those layers within Dreamweaver to recreate this. So I just go into Dreamweaver and I'd start working backwards and saying, okay, let's make sure that our super container, which if we hop over to the code here and take a look at how this is put together, okay, you can see that in here they have overall, it's not called the super container, but they have this overall container that is the main thing that has everything in it. And you can see that it opens here and then it doesn't close until the very end. So that's one of the things that I can start with that main background picture. All right, get this sized up to the proper size, and then I can start working through those details. So I know that this is div class container. I can go back, just kind of a quick reminder of all this because it's been a little while since we've been in here. We've got our source code, and now we've got the CSS, and I know that I'm working with the container here, and I can go in and I can make this, since it's a splash page, instead of 90%, I'm going to make sure that this is 100% of my page, because that's it. It's all of the page. Right? Margin left, auto, margin right, auto. I can go in, I can change these. If I know the size of my picture, I can set up the height so it is exactly this height, and start piecing it together little by little like that. So this is your next step, web design. You're going to hop in here. You're going to start coding this out. If you looked at Schoology, you will notice that on Schoology, this is due for Friday. And this is your first page draft with code. And then I'm going to get a screenshot of what it actually looks like in your browser. And that'll be the easiest way for us to turn this in here in our virtual setting. So go ahead, start working there, start doing that, and piecing all of this together. Okay, and I believe that's it actually for web design, which is going to take us over to game design. Okay, game design question came up. Let me hop over there. There it is. And the game design question came up is this. And let me put this up here too, so that you can see this. And I'm going to clear that and send it over. All right, so as you can see, we've got the line writer one. So we were talking about implementing a health system. That was yesterday's topic. That's our assignment here for the first part of the week. And we're working in this health system that's like a health bar, taking hits from enemies, reducing your health overall, having the consequence of it restarting the level and all that. But as I look at Eltone's example here of the line writer, I think maybe that doesn't apply exactly the same way. But I'm thinking about this line writer game, and it looks like we have infinite tries to complete a level. What if we were to apply health, but attempts? So instead of the health bar, we've got attempts. And attempt 1, attempt 2, attempt 3, kind of like almost like an Angry Birds setup, where you get only a certain number of attempts at each of the levels. And you only get a certain number of birds, too. So, you can incorporate this health system in a lot of different ways. I just want to point that out here is that, um, you know, you're going to, let me clear that, boom, and you're going to learn a lot of these different features. Like yesterday in Digital Media 2, we were learning about a coin system. Well, a coin system is just another collectible. You could use that collectible in any way that you wanted. Earlier, we were talking about collectibles within game design and inventory. You could use those things in a lot of different ways. Don't take them so literally. You can literally literally, you could go in and you could make them work for any kind of situation that you need here. So I think Eltone posed the question to me, like, how do I use that health system? I've got a line rider game. Well, don't use it as health, use it as attempts. And that goes out to the rest of you as well. If you've got a unique situation with your game, work on that situation, see what you can come up with. Okay, excellent. Your health system is due Wednesday, by the way, and it's going to be another screen recording of your game, and that is posted on Schoology. So take a look at that so that you can get that in as well. If you've already got that, you may be working on other things. Just as a preview, our next stop is going to be to make this a fully functional game. We're going to talk about a start screen and a win screen so that we have a looping method of beginning the game and ending the game, and we may work in a pause menu as well so that during the game we can actually pause, hop back into it, all that kind of basic functionality framework that should be involved in a game. So that's kind of our next stops here. If you have any questions, make sure that you are messaging me here. Get a hold of me, talk to me, and at any time you can hop on to any of the Google Meets that I've been posting on Schoology. That's for everybody, so you can hop on there. I've literally done walkthroughs on your screen with a number of different people here from class, so don't be afraid to do that. All right, excellent. That's game design, and that takes us over to video production. And for video production, I think the big thing here for you guys is that you just need to get on Schoology and you need to post your ideas for the virtual Red Hawk Talk. And I gave the example of John Krasinski's Some Good News, and I think it's a positive way for us to interact with a number of people and kind of get stuff out there and still be independent and still be respecting the quarantine so that we can put some stuff together. The biggest thing that I would say to you is keep it related to Milton. Keep it related to things that are local. Keep it upbeat. Keep it funny. Keep it positive. All of those different things that we're looking for right now, that's what we want to incorporate. Don't forget, you have the flexibility of actually meeting with people via Google Meet, Zoom, any of those. If you do a Google Hangout, any of those possibilities are open to you so that you can collaborate with people within the class and you can interview people outside of the class in the community. I mean, you want to get a hold of Mr. Billhorn, go ahead and get the update from him. Maybe he can incorporate it into our next Some Good News here. And so just kind of keep that in mind. Those are a lot of different options that we can do. There's loads of different avenues, different people that we can connect to. We could have a lot of fun with this. So be creative, get your ideas in by Wednesday, and then we have a follow-up discussion from that we're going to start working on those different ideas and assign those. Okay? Excellent. Other than that, video production, I believe you're all set. So that's going to take us into Digital Media 1. All right, Digital Media 1, we left off with GarageBand, and I feel like finally we're getting GarageBand under wraps here. I feel like more people have got it installed. More people have handled the different little error messages and administrator passwords and things like that. If you are still having issues though, email me directly and just let me know, because right away we've got a way to work around that. So I believe Taylor, Amelia, let's see here, Liam, there were a load of different people here that emailed me that had different issues with that admin password and no loops showing up in GarageBand. If you're one of those people, email me. We'll get it all figured out. There's no reason to not be able to interact with GarageBand here. Excellent. So today we are moving on, and the part that I want to direct you to here is this. Let me pop back over here, send that, and we're going to head on over to the Red Hawk Media page. And instead of me going through all of this in this virtual tutorial or virtual live stream here, I would point this out. There is a whole playlist for GarageBand. And I've been pasting the links in the description below. I've done the same for today. We looked at part 1 previously, and now you're looking at part 2. And part 2 is going to teach you more about manipulating the different tracks, and it's going to show you something that's probably been really annoying to you is you basically, up to this point, have only been able to use the slider for the track volume. And it's like you put it in a position and it's stuck there, and it's like that for the whole track. And there's times that you may want to like fade the music down or fade it back up and have those options to do that. And here on this particular frame of the tutorial, you can see that there's definitely ways to do that. Now this is a little bit older tutorial. It's one version back of GarageBand. Almost everything is in the same exact place, but I will point out that this little button right here, which is going to allow you to do your track manipulation here for the volume, is not on there by default. Okay, it's a very important feature, but it doesn't show up by default. So I'm going to pop back over to GarageBand on here live so you can see where and how to get to that. Let me hop out of here, bring this up. Okay, and now in here you can see that I've already been taking advantage of this, right? Our volume is coming in, it's fading down. The volume is fading in here, and then it levels out. You can see here I created a fade out. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use this. In order to actually get to this button, this is the button right here that we're looking for. On your screens, what you want to do is you want to hit A for automation. Okay, when I do that, you can see that's the quick key for making this actually show up or disappear. All right, and A is the key. All right, I'll put a note in the description below. Use A for automation. If you don't know what that is, you'll know as soon as you get to the tutorial and watch GarageBand Basics 2. Now, here's what we're going to do. This is the assignment, and this is what you're going to post to Schoology, because of course we're keeping this machine rolling along here. What I would like this time is I would like 4 to 5 tracks simultaneously playing, and I would like to see that automation of volume up and down. Now there's 2 things that you're going to turn in this time. 2 things. 1, you're going to export your MP3. You'll turn that in. 2, what you're going to do is you're going to take a screenshot of your workspace here. I'm only worried about the main workspace. I don't need to see the whole of GarageBand. So when I go out, I just do my Command-Shift-4, okay, and right away I just grab a screenshot of just my workspace showing that volume automation. So make sure that you have that enabled. This would not be a good one to take, so I'm going to hit A, again, A for automation, Command-Shift-4. Now hop back in here. And now I can take this screenshot and then I can go ahead and post that to Schoology. All right, excellent. That should pretty much set everybody up here with all of the stuff that you need to do. That's all of the classes. I'm just recapping all this in my mind here. Sorry, you have to see the process. It's scary, I know, and I'm only 1 coffee in today. I think that pretty much wraps it up. I think that's pretty much lesson 9 there, or day 9 of our virtual conundrum here. That means that we're going to wrap it up. And the other thing that I would say is, at any time, if you need any help, I'm available on Google Meet. I have posted that to Schoology. Please hop on there. Take advantage of that situation. I can walk through stuff with you. You can see my screen. I can see your screen. Don't even worry about turning the camera on. We can have audio. We can talk through everything, however you want to do that, but I'm definitely very accessible there. Otherwise, people have been very good about advocating for themselves by dropping me emails, messaging me in Schoology, whatever it is that you need to do, please take advantage of that. I can't stress that enough. This is school as it is now, and please, embrace this situation as much as we can. And these are great skills for us to learn. Not a great situation, but it is forcing us to utilize a lot of skills that we haven't previously used. So, take advantage of that. You'll be better students for it after this. And hopefully we'll be better teachers as well. At any rate, that pretty much wraps it up for the 9th day of our virtual academy here on Red Hawk Media. I'm going to send it on over,